I'd say good morning, but it's like 20 to 1. And it's bright. Although temperature wise out here, it probably feels like morning time. it, right now, it's probably mid 30s, upper 30s, somewhere in there. So I come out and just stand out here in the sunshine a little bit and just kind of. So I'm still waking up. And let my dogs run around too a bit. One of the neighbors is getting a rather large load of gravel brought in. That's good. They're probably going to reline the road up there. Yeah, out here it's on the community to keep up on the roads in these spots. Unless you go further up, like from here, I mean, you can't just drive up there. So you'd be driving through trees and tree stumps. But it's not even like a quarter mile, like that way. And you're right in public lands. I mean, just 5-minute walk and I'm right in there. But, and even government lands up in there. So, I mean, the service roads up there, they have to keep up on. But it's up to the neighborhood and all that stuff to basically keep up on the roads. So, like, anytime it snows and all that, we have to plow or shovel the roads. I'm a shitty neighbor because I can't afford any form of snowplow. All I've got is just a little snow shovel. That shit annoys me. That's why I'm kind of, stuck on it. But no, I'm just exhausted. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do today. I think I'm gonna make some chicken tonight, and I don't know if you can hear the neighbors. I call this the naturehood for a reason, and it's not necessarily because of myself. But it's still the naturehood anyways, because like when we first moved in, before all the noise and everything, we'd have deer come out right here in front of the house out here on the in the field, like that the neighbors own now. These ones, the loud ones. We'd have coyotes and wolves pass through the property, and then once I got the fence up, they wouldn't pass through it, but they would still go around the property, and they'd be heading out to the lake. And that's what they'd be doing. They'd be heading out to the lake, obviously. And it was always around between 1 and like 3 in the morning that the coyotes would come through right here on the road right here to head up towards. Well, once you get over here, you start getting over. There's some of the creeks kind of converge over here, and obviously into the Northern Lake, and then this other one right here. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now. But we get a lot of them coming through. Like when I was going into town day before yesterday, I was sitting there at the road construction next to the lake as I'm watching, the birds and everything like that. Got to watch this eagle kind of come down, pick up a fish, and fly off. And I'm sitting there, I really wish I had my camera right then. Well, I had it, but I wasn't ready for it because it would have been a perfect picture, or even a little video. But no, we'll get cougar coming through here quite a bit. You don't you almost never see them, but you know they're coming right through, and you'll see them once in a while. Black and brown bears, all that stuff. So it's, yeah, it's quite the naturehood out here. Some pretty big deer and all that. Elk wise, they're here, but we'd have to go a lot further up on the mountain and all that. I don't think you'd. I don't think you'll see a whole lot unless, yeah. If you go further north up into the valley, into the Cascade Ranges there, and the coastal ranges there, and all that stuff, you'll really find them up there. That's where, when I went to go elk hunting with one of my friends, I had one of those OJ Broncos back then. And I enjoyed camping up there. I slept in the truck while him and his girlfriend at the time had their big giant ass tent. It was like pretty much like a little fucking house, and I slept in the truck. I was not gonna be in that tent. But I remember sitting there. We went out early in the morning, nothing. And so about midday, somewhere in there, because we had this spot where we can oversee this clearing right into the tree line. It was perfect. But we also knew the night before something had came right through the campsite, or up near it, because we could hear it and you can feel it in the ground. We weren't thinking Bigfoot. We're going, okay, there's got to be an elk or a bear out here. Because it was coming up. It came up like near the tent. You could hear it. I even felt it go near the truck and all that, because yeah, it was just weird. And that whole situation was weird because I couldn't see exactly what it was between tinted windows being dark as fuck and an elk walking by, or a bear. It was big enough that, all I could see was the side of it, like in the window. So I was like, I'm not doing anything, because if that's a bear or an elk, I don't need to startle this thing, and yeah, they'll fuck the truck up. But anyways, the next morning we sat out there, saw nothing. So we figured in the afternoon we'd throw this, it's called an elk bomb. And inside this thing, it's kind of like a bug bomb. But instead of it spraying pesticides and shit, it was spraying this rut stuff, or whatever you want to call it, for the females to help draw in the males. And we'd set it off in the afternoon. We figured we'd go out there, in about 2-3 hours. Well, we went and we're sitting there about 3-4 o'clock. We're there early enough. We knew, or it wasn't expecting anything for probably a couple hours. We just wanted to already be there, have our spot, be comfortable. Basically, I've already eaten our, lunch type thing up at the campsite. All that fun stuff. Well, we're sitting there and we're not really seeing it, a whole bunch as we're looking down into this valley. You got a little bit of clear cut right there. There's a little clear cut that we're at, and it's got clearing down below, and then you've got the forest line right there. And it was starting to get dark. It was getting harder to see. So we're like, once the sun drops below the mountain line, we can't hunt anyways and all. So we're like, let's just go ahead and start heading back. We stand up, and right behind us, so our backs was towards the direction of our camp, and our camp was maybe a football field away. Well, when we turn towards our camp, to the left of it, all I see is this great big giant white ass. And I'm going, holy shit, that motherfucker would be like a set of PJs for my Bronco. And he's sitting there going, dude, you can take it. And I'm going, I'm not taking it. I mean, yeah, I'll shoot it pretty much in the ass, because that's all I can really see at this point as it's entering into the forest line. I was like, I'm not doing that, dude. I was like, no. I was like, I'm thinking in my head with all their camp shit in the truck, because there's barely room for 3 of us after all their stuff was in there. I'm sitting there looking, I'm going, dude, that head, the rack on that thing has got to be almost as big as the truck itself. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking an animal that can only take, like, at most, like, maybe a third to a half of it. If I wanted to, even keep, if I wanted to, basically, if I wanted to keep the head and the antlers and all that stuff, I would get stuck with, like, a quarter of the animal at that point. And a quarter of that would have been, well, half of that would have been the head itself. Like, no. Like, no. I'm like, dude, we should have came out with a fucking U-Haul, man. That was just some bullshit. So, I mean, all I could think to myself, like, through that whole process of not only could my truck wear that thing like PJs, I'm picturing Luke Skywalker off of Empire Strikes Back with the Tauntaun at the there on Planet Hoth, I think it was. And he cut the damn belly out, emptied out, and turned it into a fucking tent. I mean, I could have made that thing into a hut. I'm short. I'm just like maybe 4 inches taller than being a legal little person. So it's like, just think about that. I'd been able to crawl in that thing. I would have had a bedroom. I probably could have had a bathroom and a little kitchen in that fucking thing. It was big. This thing was big enough. Sorry about some of it. It would have been able to rub, like, its backside would have rubbed right along the gutter line right here. Right on that lower spot, it would have rubbed on there just fine. It could have scratched its butt on there. And I'm looking at that thing going, I've never seen one of those animals that close standing up like that. I've seen them at some of the reserves and all that, and they're just laying out in the field, so you're probably like, 500 feet away looking at these animals, and they look big out there, but you're not really getting that perspective till you're like right there, and you're going, this motherfucker is gigantic. Like, I want one of those for a horse. And I'm afraid of heights, but that would be cool as fuck. To have an elk for a great big giant draft horse. Just hop on that thing and just ride it. Be like riding a moose. I don't know which one's more aggressive. I think moose are more aggressive than elk. But that'd be like having a dire wolf or a giant grizzly bear to ride like a pony. I think that would be cool as fuck. Sorry, now I'm getting sidetracked because now I'm starting to think of the Grand Wolf Lodge commercial where the family got to ride the giant wolves to vacation time at their I don't know if it's a resort or is that a resort? Grand Wolf Lodge Resorts? But I think that'd be cool. Get to hop on a giant, wolf and be like, ride it like a little person all the way to, go hit some water slides in a water park. I totally sidetracked myself right now with all that stuff and going from the naturehood shit. I'm still waking up. I've been awake for about an hour at most. I'm more or less just, when I wake up, I can talk at you a little bit. There'll be some mornings where it's like, I'm pretty much ready to go, but most of the time it's like, don't ask me questions. Please don't ask me questions. We can talk about anything if it comes down to it and you're wanting to talk about something, but please don't ask me questions. Not right when I'm waking up because I'm not sure what I'm being asked and my processing speeds are really slow. So, but no, that's my random little morning ramble today and all that. Mr. Bear's up here having fun adventuring around, and Misha the same thing. They just kind of bumble about in the yard. We do have to watch out for some of the big birds and stuff during the summertime, because we get condors out here, the big California condors, and then we get the bald eagles, and I know we've got gold eagles out here. And sometimes they'll start to, when my dogs were out, they would start to circle my animals, and it's like, I can't shoot you. I legally cannot shoot any of you, but I'm definitely gonna, I'm gonna pop one off, just to hopefully get the noise to send them away. But then I ended up finding out that those dog things, the high pitched, like, what is it? The dog. It's like a dog defender thing or whatever. You just push the button, it puts off this high pitched noise to scare them away or get them to quit barking. I found out that those work pretty good on bats and they work good on other animals. So, like, yeah, it'll. I found sometimes, not all the time, but I found at times there it did help when some of those, with some of the birds that were flying over and all that. I'd set that thing off and it would go a different direction. Because, yeah, it's like, no, I'm not going to have you guys pluck my dog off, and I don't want to see my dog with wings, a couple 100 feet up in the air and getting dropped. That's, no. And in case some people don't realize that, some of these animals, yeah, they might fly into the nest or something, but a lot of times when it comes to animals like these, like my dogs, small, like lambs, goats, stuff like that, when they pick them up, they'll pick them up, and once they get to a certain height, they just drop them. And then they, yeah. Misha! Man, I head in the house now. Not really cold, I'm just, yeah. Anyways, try and have a good day, guys. I might update you later on or something. I most likely will, because I have, like, nobody to talk to right now. So, it's just me and my 4-legged kids. So, have a good day. Late.